But guys, be mindful here of the biggest pitfall of going this way and swinging this way. This is the big one where we've become so... If you've been following our recent tutorials, and you're going to see them on the screen, if not, go and check them out, because it all leads to this place: hitting the golf ball, playing the shot, releasing the golf club. This exercise today, it's really understanding how we direct our motion and let it go. Now, I'm using the vector map. This is something I'm sure you'll have seen on lots of videos in my lessons. It will be released at some point because it's got so many different uses. But what I'm going to use it for today is just highlighting the direction of the golf swing. You can use sticks, you can use clubs, you can use anything just to give you some kind of guidance on the ground. A really good place is in a bunker and just using the actual divot of the bunker. But what we're going to do is just to show you from this perspective the change in direction of our movement purely through intention. The first thing we're going to do is take away the club and we're going to bring in a golf ball. In fact, I'm going to grab 2 or 3 because what I want to show you is the difference in movement and how we actually have to change our, in golfing terms, alignment, but really it's just orientation. We want to detach ourselves from this golfing jargon because alignment suggests lines. And it's not, it's just orientation to the ball, but in respect of how we intend to move. Our orientation is really just facilitating our motion. So for example, if I want to throw this ball, and it's more of a throwing down action than it is throwing forward, we're actually releasing all the levers down in a golf swing to strike a golf ball, as opposed to this way. So this looks nice and golfified, and yes, there are some traits of this motion we can draw upon into a golf swing, but we're going to use a throwing down action. Now, I'm staying square here, fall into my own trap there of talking about lines, but you know what I mean here, square to you, parallel, all that business. So here, I'm now in a place where I could throw this down the orange line, into the ground. Obviously I've released it, it's gone out to the right, and I'd have to release it pretty late to get that to go into the orange direction, okay? But that's fairly doable, okay? There's nothing that's really constraining my action here. I can throw that down the orange from this place. Now I'm starting to release it even later, and if I go even later, it gets straighter and straighter and straighter, i.e. a later release probably allows you to swing the golf club in the direction you want, as opposed to an early release. I'm going this way and the ball's gone that way. So case in point, where are we directing our forces? When are we actually releasing? What's going on in terms of directional control, understanding? Of course, releasing early, yes, that's going to throw the ball out that way, but if we're attached to a golf club, golf club swings this way, opposite to the force we're applying in that direction. So let's talk about, as a right-handed golfer, drawing the ball. So I'm going to imagine a swing direction from light blue to yellow. Standing here may not make that particularly easy. It's possible, but it's not that easy. But as soon as I move around here, totally different. Now, all this space is available for me to swing my arms and throw the ball in that direction from blue to yellow. More importantly, when I start to recognise how I'm moving, there's a shift, there's a precursor movement to this now. Before I let go of this, from the other videos we learnt about swinging the club on the way back, changing direction and loading. What direction are we loading? It's all about the shift. In what direction am I shifting? The shift is really important in moving your centre of mass in the direction you want to go and then stopping it quickly to let everything go. Because there's a braking force. Moving your mass in the direction you want to go, the centre of mass, and then stopping it has the effect of an emergency stop. In a car, it stops and lets this go, and there's stability. But what you've done is you've directed your mass in the direction you intend to swing. So in this case, for example, here, I'm going to move around and I'm going to shift in the direction of the yellow before I even throw the ball in the direction of the yellow. In fact, my arm's still going back and I'm now shifting towards the yellow, and this is going to enable me, in terms of orientation, to push off the ground, use my vertical, pivot the body, i.e. rotate it, and let these levers fire and release this golf club, or this ball if you like, really late. Just by exploring this throwing action and spatially recognising where I need to be to enable this to happen, gives me some kind of image in my mind of where I need to be with a golf club. I could go around here, and now I can swing the golf club blue to yellow, and I can start to bring in the shift in this direction. Now I could move around this way. It's not alignment dependent. I could move around here with my body and use the sequencing of the body, the movement form, to direct the swing out there. No problem. It's just that by moving my feet around this way, moving my hips, body over here, it makes it easier to do. And if I let that golf club rotate, that face rotate, I'm going to get draw shots. Okay? So recognizing that I'm shifting in the direction I intend to release the club. How can we do that in a golf swing with an exercise? Well, use a step exercise. Orientate yourself around in terms of the intended swing direction. For me, I'm just moving a little bit around here to open up this space for this natural swinging direction. And now I'm going to do a step drill. I'm going to put my feet together. I'm just going to make those simple swings back and forth. As we swing the club back, we're going to drop in the direction we intend to swing. And then push off the ground. Use the pop and let the club release over the shoulder. Feel that momentum. When the time's right, you'll feel there's a natural timing, a resonance here. When you feel the moment's right, you can start to harmonise your body action with it, with the drop. And it's all guided in this direction. There's no reason why we shouldn't draw the ball, because here I'm almost guaranteeing a swing to the right. All you've got to do is close the face. Conversely, if we want to go the other way, let's take the green and the grey, the out to win as a right-hander. If I wanted to throw the ball in this direction, standing square is probably not going to make life very easy. Okay, but if I move around counterclockwise relative to the ball, now this makes it easier. And throwing it into the floor, releasing it late. And Craig's super athletic skill set has just been on show there. Just missed it. Matrix style. It just shows you that I'm not in control of my release pattern, so always beware. Here, if I release later, I get the direction I want. There's some hidden truths in this as well, in terms of late release and directional control. So by me moving around here, I'm allowing myself to swing the ball, because that's what I'm doing. I'm swinging the ball and then releasing it. I'm accelerating it on a downward trajectory, but in the direction that I intend over here to the left. We're going to take a club and we're going to move around now, counterclockwise, and just make some swings in this direction. So you could have a couple of clubs on the floor, one 45 degrees to the right, 145 degrees to the left, relative to that target line that we never ever want to try and swing down or hit down or follow. So here we're going to be swinging across the ball, and we're swinging to the left from grey to green, and we can start to bring in the shift towards the green. So as I swing back, there's a natural shift in the direction we want to go, to the left, in the direction of the green, using the step drill. There, shifting, dropping into that green space here to the left is allowing us to then pop into a finish. And notice where I'm ending up. I'm over here. This could be playing the fade, big fade, that could be playing the big draw. The ball's ending up in the same place, same target, just a very different place to be, because we're playing different shots. But we need to attune ourselves to these tolerances. The ranges here that are afforded to us are so important, because these tolerances are what we attune ourselves to, and they restrain us, they constrain our movement. We've got to recognise there's a lot more to explore and to utilise away from the target in terms of our movement, which ultimately allows us to release the club, to put the spin on the ball, to bring it back to the target. And therefore, if we start to get too much spin one way, we know we can move around and go the other way to regulate this and keep our dispersion under control. If I'm doing this, but I intend to swing this way, I've got problems, because my action doesn't match my intention. So therefore, the perception I have of the action I'm making is completely skewed. I think I'm swinging red to green, and in reality, I'm swinging this way, and my body normalises this and calibrates to this, so this becomes my new straight. And therefore, any kind of shift to the right is such a monumental effort, takes such a high level of focus and commitment and concentration. I'm probably never going to let myself go there because it's too scary, it's too big a shift to get into that space. That's why we need to move around and explore this, and then move around and explore this. And now we've got some sense of the landscape we're operating with, and we can start to move around with ease, as opposed to living in this space all the time, and then just to get over there, it's probably never going to happen. But best I'm going to push myself this way to somewhere where square might really be, but it's going to take a real forced effort to get there, and I might not get all that way, and sometimes I'll be there and my club face probably won't even be releasing because it's been so used to swinging left, the body's had to hold the face off, it's been so used to this release. Going this way is not even recognisable. Experientially, the body doesn't know what to do, it's never been there. We think we're in that space because we're so used to swinging this way, and we've never explored using these release patterns, so we've never really recognised what the rotation of the face is for a path travelling away from the body. We don't really know what this feels like, so the nervous system's it's not equipped for it to let us do it, so we're never really going to go into those places, and then the draw, unfortunately, eludes us. The system's hardwired for preservation, it knows what it knows, it's comfortable with what it knows, and then when you try to move out of these recognisable ranges, it's a real challenge. In practice, we've got to live outside these ranges. That's why this is important. Take yourself into these extreme, what you perceive to be extreme. In reality, it's a slight shift, but it feels huge. So you've got to take yourself into that place. But guys, be mindful here of the biggest pitfall of going this way and swinging this way. This is the big one, where we've become so upper body dominant with our arms, swinging across the body, that yes, we might be able to cheat the system and go so far this way that we suddenly end up swinging fairly straight and people think they're going straight, but in reality it's just a big pull. If you've been following our series of tutorials, you're not going to have this issue because the levers aren't going to be collapsing, they're actually going to be doing the opposite, they're going to be extending because of the system you've created here and the reactions that you recognise through the drills that we've been doing. So it's a journey you're taking yourself through, and by just recognising all these phases along the way, you're allowing it just to take place. I often use the analogy of a train journey as well, the stations. We recognise the stations along the way, but we don't get off. The train continues, but you're just passing these places. And essentially that's what we're doing. We're not stopping and checking, we're moving, but we recognise that we're doing it. Video it. Because if it's happening, you're doing it. You don't need to stop and check and sense how this feels in an isometric pose, because matching a pose is not movement. That's static. That holds no relevance to a golf swing. So use the body in a dynamic way. We're changing direction continually. Embrace that, and I'll challenge yourself by exploring the space out here, the space out here, organising yourself, using the step exercise to feel the shift in the direction you want, which triggers that push off, that applies the braking force to let this release go and let the club go. Continually embrace the challenge, and that's how you're going to develop a robust and trustworthy action. And that is how we create more consistency in the game.